Welcome to my cozy, candlelit, very in-depth apothecary tour. The weather has shown up in perfect fashion for this video, bringing gloom and sweet melancholy. I wanted to start this video by sharing a few details on this antique apothecary cabinet and what exactly I use it for. So I did a lot of research trying to find out as much as I could on this treasure of an antique. I was once again blessed by the thrift gods, or in this case, the Facebook marketplace gods. And once I brought it up to my home and at a closer glance, I quickly realized that this was a much older piece than I originally assumed, and that I must have gotten it for an insane deal. The first indicators being the antique key, the locking mechanisms, the beautiful mahogany wood, the lattice and wood carving patterns, and column details, which I will be sharing a closer look at those specific details towards the end of the video. So it appears to be in the traditional Edwardian style, and from what I could find, its origin could be anywhere between the 18th century, the late 18th century, to early 1930s, depending on if it was a revival manufactured piece in the States, which is more likely, I would think, but I honestly can't be completely sure. And I also could not locate a maker on this piece, so if you happen to have any knowledge behind more historic details on this antique, please let me know. I'm so curious. Regardless, it is definitely old and truly a stunning, incredible piece of furniture, and I'm so happy to have found it. Now that we've gotten some of those details out of the way, what exactly do I use my apothecary for? What I know most is this is a space I come to when seeking comfort, grounding, connection to the natural world, and nourishment to my soul and body through the practice of herbalism, herbal medicine, something that has been a part of my life for many years now, and in a lot of ways it has always been. But I have this secret world that is just so magical, and yeah, I fell into the practice of herbalism in what I feel is a very natural way, and maybe many others can relate to, but simply just a love for herbal tea and being out in nature, incense and oils, gardening, and simply a growing curiosity. I think that the best way to learn is just to begin and use your hands, being playful and curious, and seek and absorb as much knowledge as you can. So years of self-taught led me to taking my passion one step further and creating a sense of structure that I felt was right for me. And I completed an herbalism course through the Herbal Academy if you're curious, and I just adored it so much, and I definitely plan to pursue another in the future. And since then, it's just really been a natural part of my lifestyle. So for me, that looks like blending loose incense, dressing candles, concocting loose leaf herbal teas, infused oils and tinctures, and harvesting herbs from my home garden. And in a really meaningful sense, you're creating this relationship with each plant, each flower, each herb, the natural world, with a super vital essence and part of yourself that we all have. And it creates this practice and art of connection and intuition and patience. I would also say I definitely fall into the realm of a folk herbalism practice. And yeah, so that is a little glimpse into my apothecary world as a budding herbalist. Something that I find so beautiful about this world is it's truly so unique and individual and beautiful for each person. Lastly, just a gentle disclaimer, I am not giving any medical advice, and to always be aware of respecting close practices, do your own research, and be aware of things like endangered plant species when engaging in the beautiful world of herbalism. And I invite you to grab yourself a cozy beverage if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, fairies, it is now time to begin the in-depth apothecary tour. I set my teapot aside. Today I'm drinking a Belgian chocolate rooibos tea. Absolutely splendid. I wish that you could smell the aroma through the screen. It is so warm and cozy. And of course, always accompanied by candlelight. So we're gonna start with the bottom shelf here and just work our way up and then go through some of the drawers and details. So starting on the left side, this bottom shelf is mostly some apothecary tools, my tea shelf. You saw before that I keep my beautiful whimsical teapot and some of my teaware here. So that's where this corner is, and usually that teapot is in this spot right here. Beginning with teaware, I showed you this, and this is the matching little tea plate with it. These are both tasseomancy cups. For those of you that don't know, that just means tea leaf reading, which is a super fun, cozy pastime. This one may just be my favorite, and both of these were gifts to me. I believe that the fortune telling one was actually bought from the Salem Witch Museum from my best friend. And then these two beautiful teacups are a matching set to my teapot. And I just love these. I love the shape and how they hold in your hands. It just feels very bubbly and cute. The teas that I keep on this bottom shelf are usually already blended. I purchased from somewhere else, like my favorite local apothecaries or online tea shops. Chocolate rooibos tea, the one I'm drinking right now. I have some lemon balm back there. We have some peppermint. This is one of my absolute favorites to drink as a tea. And we have some blends from my favorite local apothecary shops. The Herb Bar, this tea, it reminds me of fall and comfort, and it's just so nourishing to the soul. So I love this blend. This one was gifted to me by my beautiful friend. It is from Magic Hour, and this one's super delicious too. It has peppermint, ginger, holy basil, licorice root, cardamom, so many amazing, delicious things. This, if you can't tell, I really love the warm blends. So I love vanilla and spices. This is a vanilla orchid garden from Tea Bloom. I love this one. And my glass teaware is actually also from Tea Bloom, so if you're interested, I do have a discount code for you. Thank you, Tea Bloom. This one is black tea, coconut, vanilla, so yummy. This is another blend from the Herb Bar, a skin blend. This is a detox blend I got from an apothecary in Colorado. So those are the teas, and then moving on to my oils and tinctures and things like that over here. I nearly forgot to show you, but these are the two spoons that I love to scoop my herbs with. I didn't know it was possible to have so much love for an object like a spoon, but this I'm truly in love with. I would be heartbroken if this ever parted with me, but it is just a whimsical, witchy, curvy wooden carved spoon, and I love it so much. I found this from a random shop in Colorado. I just love it. And then this one I recently picked up from a market. The most adorable lady in booth. She was selling vintage teacups and spoons. Now for oils, tinctures, essential oils, everything like that. I don't always keep all my oils and everything in here. There's some things that I just have stored elsewhere, but these are some of my favorite tinctures. As you can see, a couple of these are empty, but I have an insane amount of lavender essential oil, of course. I love carrying this with me to soothe headaches, and I also am planning to make some rosehip lavender infused oil. That is my favorite oil to have always, for so many reasons, just sleep benefits, easing tension in your body, and so many other lovely things. So just some of the oils we have here. This is a castor oil. I love carrying castor oil with me as well. This is Jamaican black castor oil. We have rose hip seed oil. This is some fire cider from an apothecary shop. And these tinctures, I love to typically have some sort of tincture that consists of cordyceps and just a blend of all the good brain supporting, memory supporting, regenerative mushrooms like chaga, all that fun stuff. So that is what all of these are. This right here, I actually just recently picked this up from a vintage market, and it is the most adorable amber bottle with a little emblem on it. I'm not sure what I'll use it for. When I said in depth, I meant very in depth, so I will be just sharing what everything is. This right here is some of my clove. Clove is without a doubt just some of my favorite. It has just a scent of safety and protection and nostalgia. I love clove so much. This is something that's pretty much in every single incense blend that I ever make for myself. I always have to have some sense of warmth, and clove is just, it really does it for me every single time. These are just some beeswax candles. They're very tiny. Sometimes I like to use them as a little timer because I think their burn time is about an hour. I also love to dress these candles, and dressing candles just means essentially dressing a candle with herbs and oils. And if you are doing this, you have to be very careful and always be sure to practice fire safety. But I love dressing candles, especially in a celebratory way. So that's what that is. And then of course I have some twine. I'll use this to tie bundles that I'm going to burn, like if you're burning lavender or rosemary, anything like that, and also to tie and dry herbs. And I actually have some rosemary to harvest, so I will be using this and using a tiny bit to tie it into a bunch so that I can hang and dry them. And then I will use that dried rosemary to infuse in oils to have for a delicious incense, most definitely in the fall. But I always have some of this. Even if you're unfamiliar with herbalism, the apothecary world, I'm sure you could recognize what this is, a cauldron. So this is a cast iron cauldron, and I use this to burn my loose incense that I make. So as you can see, there is some charcoal in there, and typically when you burn incense, you have charcoal discs and over a bed of salt. I like to use like chunky Himalayan salt, or you can use sand, something of that matter, and you put the charcoal disc and you put the loose incense over. So you could literally drop cloves just over that and it would burn, and it's quite smoky. So I always have the windows open. I will literally just walk around my house with this swing in my hand. This over here is cast iron as well. Many of you would probably recognize a mortar and pestle. You may even have one in your kitchen already, but I'll use this to pestle and grind herbs, and especially tougher ones like roots, clove, things like that, or if I want to get a really fine blend with incense. So that's what I use those for. These are my babies. I've had these for so many years and they're in such incredible condition, and cast iron has been used by ancestors for so many years for a reason. These should last me forever. Okay, this is my little herbiary. So I do have plans to add another shelf. Like I said, I don't keep absolutely everything in here. And also this is my personal apothecary and I never want to waste anything. So I do keep and stock a modest amount of herbs because it's typically just me using it, unless if I'm making something for friends and family. So another little thing that I did want to mention is typically best practice is to store your herbs in amber bottles like so. Protecting the longevity and the potency of the herbs is best kept when it's stored with no direct light. The spot my apothecary is in gets nearly no light, and so these will be fine. And like I said, it's just my personal use, so I do tend to go through them before that would end up being any real issue. Some very nice amber bottles are definitely on my wish list for one day. So a few details, like these vintage looking apothecary labels, I ordered these from Etsy so many years ago, maybe like 5 years ago. But you could easily make your own like on Canva or something like that. But let's just go ahead and go through the herbs I have. Peppermint leaf, dandelion leaf, damiana, cinnamon sticks, of course, jasmine flower. These make such a beautiful soft tea. Rosemary, we have nettle leaf, chamomile, rose petal, oat straw, may have already said it, but that is more peppermint. Behind these, this is about to be a lot of ASMR, but we have skullcap, lavender, then we have lemongrass, one of my favorites, calendula. We have mullein leaf and raspberry leaf. We have St. John's wort and hawthorn berry, lemon balm, and this is hawthorn leaf. So this is this side of the herbs. Now let's get into some of the other ones. Over here, I keep some of my resins that I use for incense and maybe like roots. As far as roots, we have black cohosh, we have ashwagandha. I'm sure some of you have heard of that. And then we also have fenugreek. I need to relabel that one. We have some more lavender back here. Resins that I use for incense. This is benzoin. Kind of a funny name. I may be mispronouncing it. It smells like caramel. Typically resins are good to put in incense blends because they're sticky and can keep it together a bit better, help the burn time last a bit longer. This is actually a blend of some resins and herbs. Oh my gosh, this again, it has clove in it. It's so warm and spicy and cozy, and I just love this one. I also got this from one of my favorite local apothecaries. They have such good incense blends. I store all of my empty jars except for a few in a closet. Jars like these I got from craft stores like Michael's. A lot of times they'll have deals and you can get these for super cheap. This, I don't even know. I think this was a gift. This was something I just recently picked up from the thrift store, so I don't know what I'll use it for yet, but I mean, that is the apothecary jar, so I just love it. Of course, I always have some random things in here like hagstones, crystals, and trinkets and whatnot. I do keep my copy of Circe in my apothecary cabinet. Can we appreciate how beautiful this edition is? I love Circe. This is one of my favorite books I've ever read. At the time when I read this, I think it really just added so much fuel and passion in my herbalism journey. And Circe, you know, she's a very powerful witch who is extremely in tune and connected to the natural world. So it just feels kind of right that Circe is in my apothecary with all my herbs. And then this right here is a really fun, beautiful book. I had to pull it back a little bit, but this is like an illustrated, very medieval manuscript style of just some of the energetic and folkloric properties behind some herbs. Just like a fun little reminder to be so intentional that things like cooking and preparing a cup of tea or coffee has meaning and intention behind it. Another one back here, I love this. It's so beautiful. I want someone to find this in 200 years and discover it in some super mysterious, spooky, gothic way. And it might be scary to them, but they don't know. I'm just like a 20-something-year-old girl who loves herbs. That is the top shelf. So this hat was a must, and I also love the very dark gothic feel. This is a stick and peel wallpaper sort of thing, but I absolutely love it, and I'm glad that I get to still have a little bit of the original. So, like I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, here are some of the closer up details of those key indicators of the age of this particular antique. So from the lattice work, the wood carving details, the brass hardware, the antique keyhole and key, the locking mechanisms, the overall craftsmanship of this piece really marks it of one made during that time. And isn't it just absolutely lovely? Okay, so now that we've gone through the interior of the cabinet, let's go through the drawers and of course this top section up here where I keep some books, and I also have a little book stack over here as well. So I would say there's actually not too much going on in these drawers. This is where I store my notebooks and binders. Some of them, I have like 5 more full binders and a couple more journals full of just my studies from when I did my herbalism course, and before that too, but just my studies in general. So I like to obviously keep those handy because I did a really good job at making these really easy to reference and continue to come back to. So these are also my favorite journals to use for any like academic purpose, studying, researching purpose. It's the decomposition books, not composition, but decomposition. They just have the coolest designs. This little woodland fairy, so charming. This one is so cool as well. And then this one's just cutie. Cutie. I have yet to use that one. This one is a flame tree journal. So beautiful. I haven't used it yet, but I just know it's going to be used for something apothecary, herbalism related. And then this is a binder just full of more resources. I have recipes, like a glossary for common terms, endangered plant species, just a lot of essential things for me. I also lined these drawers with the same wallpaper. Okay. I don't have too much in this drawer. This is a funnel for my herbs when I'm restocking them. These are some beeswax candles that I just ordered, and so I hope they work out. Here is some charcoal that I mentioned that to use for loose incense, and I have some loose herbs in there from a blend I just made recently. This is more incense and just some little trinkets and such. Veggie, vegan capsules. This is kind of like a random drawer. Nothing's really going on here. Candles, trinkets, and a couple practical items. I think I would be so lost in my herbalism journey practice if I didn't have books. These aren't all of my books related to herbalism and herbal medicine, but there are a few that I like to keep handy. Let's just go through some of these. Here, these are Farmer's Almanac books. This one is a herbal and handbook, so this is like another quick reference to herbs, and each one has a recipe, which I just love. Lavender lemonade from Earth. This one has a lot of self-body herbal recipes. Braiding sweetgrass. This is a book that I think is for everyone. It is such an incredible read. This is a fun gardens book about old Victorian gardens and things like that. I just really love it. And this is another almanac type book. One of my herbalism journals that I like to use. I don't want them to all fall out, but I like pressing flowers in here, writing down different tea and incense blends, especially ones that I really loved because I like to go back to them sometimes. This is a book that I just got in the mail, and I am so incredibly excited about this one. I just have to share more, but this is a Wheel of the Year book, and it came just in time for the summer solstice. So this one is just full of goodness. I'm so excited to start using this one. This is if you really love staying and feeling in tune with the seasons and rhythms of nature, and of course there's definitely some good herbal information in here. This is a pretty well-known one in any apothecary. This is Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine. I mean, this is just so rich with knowledge. Nearly everything you could think of. Super great resource. And then just right here I have some candles and an art print. This is a detail of one of the 3 Graces, I believe it's called, by Botticelli. So I just really love that. And yeah, so those are my books. Okay, fairies, this is just the very last bit, just a little stack of books that I like to keep by it too. This is just alabaster shell. I just went to the beach and found these shells. I'm sorry, but doesn't that look like a little baby seal? Don't tell me it doesn't. It does. Okay, so this is another great reference
book for herbs. Always some yummy recipes in these books too, which I love. But I love the illustrations. And I actually got this book the same place I got that wooden spoon that I'm obsessed with. And then we have some magical herbal books for, you know, like the energetic purposes and in terms to like the seasons. And then this is another cool one. It's called The Complete Language of Herbs. This one, it feels like it can be a bit, I don't know, repetitive, but because it seems like if there's any mention in like history or folkloric senses of something, it's going to be named there. So if that even makes sense, it'll show all of its given names or nicknames, the Latin terms, symbolic meanings, color, possible powers, folklore facts, just some fun things to read on. I personally am always most fascinated by the historic and folkloric aspects in the stories of old. This right here is a little garden moon calendar, and it's so cute. I'll show you. So yeah, kind of just like depending on the day and the moon cycle, because I'm telling you, when you really align and work with nature and her elements, wouldn't you know, it thrives and flourishes even more. I know, it's crazy. But yeah, so that is this little stack of books over here. Okay, fairies, that officially concludes my apothecary tour. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you stuck around this long, comment the little teacup emoji.